Today we're talking about Qigong breathing. Hello and welcome to Yoga Lifestyle with Melissa. I am back with my friend Jeff. Welcome, Jeff.
Well, thank you, Melissa.
Tell me your channel again.
Oh, I don't actually know what
You
the
always
channel is.
change it.
No, I have. It's Think Vitality and my website is qigongforvitality.com.
Okay, we'll put that all in the show notes so you can go check Jeff out. You guys, Jeff is like a regular here now. You all know him. So today Jeff is here to help us with our Back to School, Back to Basics series because I wanted him to talk to us about some basics with Qigong breathing. So I'll hand it over to you so you can tell us about that.
Sure. So Qigong breathing is it's so important in Qigong practice. You can't just do Qigong without the proper breathing. So a couple different reasons why it's important. First of all, there's been so much research lately in Western medicine about the importance of breathing, and it can all be summarized with the phrase the relaxation response. So that was, if you've heard about that before?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was originated in the 70s by Dr. Herbert Benson, and there's a book, it's called The Relaxation Response. It talks all about the medical effects of deep breathing. And it's worth looking into because it's just fascinating to see what happens in the brain and in the body.
I'll have to look at that book. I haven't.
You haven't seen it? Yeah, it's,
No.
you can usually find it in the library or used bookstores because it's bright red with orange lettering.
Cool, yeah.
So one of the main effects that it does is it reduces stress. And if you think about it from a medical point of view, it's stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's calming down that fight or flight response in the back of the brain. The other thing that it's doing, it's stimulating, it's called the vagus nerve, and that goes from the base of the spine to the stomach. And that releases all these neurotransmitters that helps calm the body down. So the nice thing about deep diaphragmatic breathing or Qigong breathing is that there's a lot of different types of techniques. It doesn't have to be just one.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow a certain tradition, they might say you have to breathe like this, you have to focus on that. But really, if you just find whatever you can do naturally and easily and more often, that's going to yield better results. And also focus practice. It's important just to say, like, okay, I'm going to practice for, even if it's 5 minutes, to do that, rather than to say, I'll just breathe when I'm driving or breathe while I'm cooking. It's studies show that you get more out of that focus practice rather than trying to integrate it into life. So there are 4 aspects of Qigong breathing. The first one is mindfulness, and I try to go around that word because it's become a little bit cliche now.
Yeah.
But just really paying attention to your breathing. So you can do deep breathing and not be paying attention, but if during Qigong, if you're really paying attention to every single sensation that you're getting through your nose, through the lungs, down into the belly, what's happening with the belly, the shoulders and everything, you're going to get so much more out of that practice rather than just simple breathing. Now, there's different ways of actually bringing awareness or attention or mindfulness into breathing. Personally, I like the breath counting method. So you breathe in, that's a count of 1. Breathe out, that's a count of 2. Breathe in, 3, out, 4, and so on. And you get up to 10, and then you start over again. So the reason why I like that one is it gives you enough to focus on without it being too rigid. And a fun fact, I think it's fun, is that if you do a breath count up to 10, that's actually about 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I just double checked it this morning to make sure I wasn't lying. So if you only have 5 minutes to practice, then you can just do a breath cycle 5 times, and that's 5 minutes, and you don't have to look at your watch the whole time. So the first thing is awareness. The second thing is natural breathing. So if a person is just new to breathing, or if you get too much in your head about breathing, just breathe naturally. Don't worry about thinking about controlling it or counting. Just breathe naturally and bring your awareness to it. You don't have to slow it down, don't have to make it deep, just natural breathing. So awareness, breathe naturally. And the third thing, almost sounds to contradict that, is to breathe deeply. So once you can breathe naturally and be aware, then start to breathe deeply. So the idea with deep breathing is that you don't want to cause strain or tension in the body, because lots of times people really try to control that. They take a big deep breath and then they have to catch up with a couple smaller breaths. And that's especially true when you're doing Qigong or something that causes a little bit more strain on the body. And you don't want to have to do those quick breaths. So deep as you need to, but don't force it. And the fourth concept with Qigong breathing is coordination. So breathing without any kind of coordination with the body is this kind of just deep breathing. But the real sort of power and effectivity with Qigong is coordinating with movements. So we can go through an exercise, and just a very simple exercise, and you'll see that if you think about just like throwing a ball, there's a lot of things happening. There's your arm, your shoulder, your hand that's moving all at the same time. If you do just one movement and don't coordinate with the other one, then you don't get the whole complete effect. And so same thing with Qigong. We need to keep a lot of awareness and the coordination in the movements. So a simple exercise here is called rising and falling. It's one of the opening exercises and very simple to do. So you start with ready position, knees slightly bent, and your hands are facing your palms. And so you breathe in as the hands come up to the level of the shoulders, and breathe out as they come down. So breathing in as the hands come up, and breathing out as they come down. So as you continue doing this, as you're breathing, as soon as your hands get to the very top, your lungs are full. And breathing out, try to time it so that your lungs are empty just as they get to the bottom. So you and I might be breathing at different rates and having to move at different rates. So just try to see if you can time it. So you see when you're breathing in, your lungs are getting really full, and then they're full, and then you're breathing out. And so this is just that's how you coordinate it with the hands. And the same thing as you're breathing out, just about empty, completely empty. And then last one, breathing in and out. Good. So that does that make sense, that idea of coordination? And so with this movement, it's pretty easy. When you start getting with involving the legs, moving to the left and to the right, then you have to really pay attention. And that's where I think you get more of an effect from that Qigong breathing.
I really like that one. I mean, we have similar ones in yoga with like a sun salutation arm. But I think what I love about Qigong is there's always that intention with the movement and the breath. And I think sometimes in yoga there's that missing is that intention with the movement. Yeah.
It's interesting in classes, and you've probably experienced this too, when you're teaching a class and you can see all a class of people looking at you, and some people will be doing, they're coordinating everything and they have the right amount of intent in it, and other people they're like really focused and they have too much intent, and that becomes willfulness, and then you start to lose the flow state.
Yeah.
And then you get the opposite where people they have no intent, which sometimes I kind of admire them because it could be so light.
Right, and then there's complete flow.
Flow, yeah. But it's not really, not really
that dispersed energy. There's no groundedness to it then.
Yeah, it's like a scarf in the wind.
Yeah.
Which probably is nice, but it's not really
nice.
It's probably not really as productive as a focused flow type of Qigong.
Yeah. Yeah, with Qigong there's always that balance between like resistance and relaxation, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's a good way to say it. And that yin and yang
right.
energy.
Yeah.
Some exercises are going to be really yang producing, and some are going to be more of that scarf in the wind yin type of energy. But all the time, they should balance themselves out in an exercise.
Right, and in this one, there's the inhalation, that would be the yang, and then the exhalation would be the yin. And you can feel that's right?
That's right.
Yeah, and you can feel that as you're inspiring, you're drawing the energy in. As you're exhaling the yin, that energy is relaxed, and you can feel that with each breath. Yeah.
Yes, and the more you feel it, the more effective it is.
Yeah.
So that when a person starts off practicing Qigong, they might need 10 minutes or so to get an effect. But when a person has done it for a while, then they could do just 2 or 3 breaths, and you already feel it happening. And that's what always fascinates me about it, is that people have been doing it for 50 years or 80 years. They're doing the exact same exercises, but when they do it, you could just, when they're breathing in and inspiring, you can feel that yang energy around them, and they can feel it too. And I think that's a good place to work towards, and it doesn't have to keep getting more and more complicated as years go on.
Exactly. Like, and that's why I think doing the back to basics, we're doing back to school and back to basics, and it's so important to come back to it. And I think it might be something that we do every year, because even the most advanced practitioners, if you can come back to that beginner's mind, right? You probably do this in every Qigong practice,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because the more you can tune into those really subtle energies, the more powerful it is. And I noticed that this week with my more advanced students, they really, really latched on to the breath practice, that practice of breath, because that's where it all stems from. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add to that?
I think we got a good base there.
I think we did too. Okay, thank you so much, Jeff. If you have any questions or comments about that, let us know. Let us know what your experience was with that Qigong breath. What's it called again? The one we did?
Oh, that's rising and falling.
If any comments about your experience with rising and falling, please leave it below. And if you have anything else that you'd like to see from Jeff on my channel, let us know too. We can always do that. Jeff's close by, so it's not not a problem. And thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Melissa would love to hear your questions and thoughts. Please leave your comments below the video. Thank you for your reviews on iTunes and YouTube. Your reviews help us to share yoga and a yoga lifestyle with others around the world. If you have a question for Melissa, you can leave a voice message at melissawest.com, and Melissa may answer it in an upcoming blog.